Hey guys, today I want to talk about something very important. It's actually safety related and it has to do with a inflatable life jacket. So stay tuned and this is important. Watch this. Oh, let me tell you guys something. This is interesting. Okay, so I have a let me get to where you can see me here. Okay. So a guy I know, a colleague of mine, died in a boating accident a couple months ago, and they found him in the next day. Divers were able to find his body. They recovered him, and he was wearing a life jacket. When I heard that, I'm like, he was wearing a life jacket. He was on the bottom. So the only thing I could figure was he must have been wearing an inflatable life jacket, and for some reason it didn't go off. So I'm beginning to get concerned. I mean, maybe I've been depending on this thing and it's not dependable. So I called Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries, talked to them, and although they wouldn't talk about a specific case, they did tell me. My concern and my question to them was, hey, are you guys aware of any cases where an inflatable life jacket did not go off when somebody hit the water, it didn't inflate and cause them to drown? And they said no. And I knew good and well that my friend or my acquaintance had been found with his life jacket on, so they did tell me that in the last year they've had 2 instances where either a life jacket had deployed once before and they had not replaced the cylinder, and I forget what the other reason was, but it wasn't a case of a normal life jacket that wouldn't go off. That was not the case on either one of those. So I immediately came back home after I talked to them and pulled out my life jacket. So I said, well, let me check and see if my CO2 cartridge is still good, because in my conversation with Wildlife and Fisheries, one of the comments they made was you should every year or two check your CO2 cartridge and replace it, especially if you see any corrosion or anything like that on it. So I said, well, let me check my CO2 cartridge. So I got my life jacket, opened it up, and there was no CO2 cartridge in it. And I distinctly remembered that when I bought this thing, there was a CO2 cartridge that came with it, and I just thought that was a spare. So my CO2 cartridge that I've had since I bought this thing 5 years ago has been in the compartment of my boat thinking it was a spare, and I've been wearing this thing and it's absolutely no good whatsoever. I had no CO2 cartridge in it. So that was eye-opening. So the reason I'm telling y'all this is because if you buy one of these inflatable life vests, they do not come with the CO2 cartridge already installed. You have to make sure you put it in there. Don't do like me and ride in the boat for 5 years thinking that you had a life jacket on when you had nothing on. You just thought you had a life jacket on. So really important, make sure when you buy one of these, or if you buy one of these a gift for somebody, just make sure that everybody knows before they go out in the boat, install that CO2 cartridge and make sure that thing is right. It's got a cartridge in it. So tough lesson learned. Well, fortunately it didn't cost me anything, but it sure could have. So anyway, that's that.